Hello guys and welcome back to Birmingham Fan TV, and today guys I just wanted to have a little bit of a sit down and just a chat about how the season's gone so far. I thought, with it being the international break, it's the perfect time to just sit down and have a chat about the 6 games that we've just played. I'm not going to include the cup because we'll write that one off for now, because it was a second string squad and we didn't get past the first round, so we all know how that one went. So, I just wanted to make this one a little bit more of an in-depth video of sort of this, the game's gone so far and how I think we've done, etc. Who'd stand out. You'll get it as we go along, but ideal time to sit down and talk about it. And I think, it's good to look back and we can evaluate where we can improve and what's been good. Obviously, any manager will tell you that that's key. So, we started the season against Norwich, the first game of the season. And off the back of last season, nobody expects anything really this season. Too adventurous. Nobody expects us to be pulling up too many trees in the Championship. And we were handed it. First of all, the first 6 games that we've been handed this season, I would say there hasn't been many teams can say that they've had that tough a run. Not many that we've had. So we start the season against Norwich at home. Tough game. We all know Norwich are a good team on their day. Plenty of good players. And I thought we put in an excellent performance. Not the best that we've seen from Gary Monk's teams, not by the stretch, but I thought we did the basics right against Norwich. We were resolute again defensively for the majority of the game. But obviously with it being a 2-2, it was one of those games that you look back now and you say we should have won that game. Plainly because we took the lead twice. But to concede 2 goals at home is extremely disappointing. But we were solid. And the goals, from what I remember, there was 2 slips involved in some point in the build-up for both of their goals. So that was extremely unlucky, and we should have been sitting there with our first win of the season from the first game of the season. Then we went to Middlesbrough, and let's be honest, again, nobody expected anything from Middlesbrough. And to come away, the way that they've started the season, with a 1-0 defeat, and we were playing with 10 men for the best part of 20 odd minutes, and we had Ndoi in midfield. I thought we did extremely well. I thought the performance we put in was excellent going to the Riverside. I thought we did a lot right. We could have scored. I thought we were unlucky not to score. Again, they could have had a few more, but you ride your luck sometimes. You have to have luck on your side. Again, we didn't let ourselves down. If anything, we did ourselves proud going there and putting the performance in we did. We don't have the squad just yet to compete away at teams like Middlesbrough. So the 1-0 wasn't too disappointing, shall we say. Then we went into a tough, again, you've got to be honest. You look at the fixture list and you go Swansea at home as the next fixture. And Swansea at home, recently relegated, still got quite a good squad, good core of players from last season. Playing those at home, Friday night game on Sky. We never do well on Sky. I know that's just a bit of a hoodoo thing to say, but we don't do very well on Sky, do we? And again, we're walking away from that game. We should have won that game. We should have battered them. We could have been 3 or 4 by half time. I think most Swansea fans would say that they were lucky to come away from our place with a point. So we could have been, at that point, 3 league games in, we could have been sitting there with 2 wins and a defeat. And the defeat was away to Middlesbrough, one of the toughest places you're going to go all season. So we could have been sitting with 6 points, but we're not. We're sitting there with 2. And then we go away to Bolton on the Tuesday night. Again, I thought we put in another very solid performance. Didn't set the world alight. We weren't sparkling. We didn't go there and we weren't terrifying them with our forward play, but we were solid. We were a good away performance. And to get beat in the manner that we did with a handball goal, I thought we were denied a few. They should have had a red card, and then there was a few incidents throughout the game that really didn't spring our way. And remember Gary Monk saying after the game that the referee let us down massively. I said it, I said it after the match as well, before I'd heard the interview. The referee messed us over that game, so we should have been at least coming away with a point there. But we've come away with nothing. Really unlucky. And then you're looking at the last 2, Forest away. How we've thrown that one away is just that I think for me that's the most disappointing one, in the sense that we're 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go and we've looked so comfortable all game. We've not give them a sniff at the City ground. We've played the perfect away performance, 2 really good goals, Duke's header was a worldie, in terms of his technique and the way he's done it. And Shea's goal was fantastic. To throw that one away was, astounding. But again, not really much to blame. The defence, both were long-range punts, so the defence couldn't have done much about it. And then obviously Camp's come under fire for the goal. But at that point, you're sitting there and you're thinking, theoretically, and this is all theoretically, we should have been sitting there with 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. You're sitting there with 10 points, you're probably in the playoffs at that point. And then Saturday's game, last game before the international break, is again one of the more disappointing results. Even though we've come away with a draw, it's a game we really should have won. Anyone would say that we should have won that game on paper and before the game. Then in the game, it was our most disappointing performance as well. We really didn't turn up, I thought. Very lacklustre, very, I don't know, we just lacked any sort of, penetration in the final third. We really didn't, movement was really slow and we were laboured in our passing and, a lot of wayward passes, and we didn't look the part going forward. We didn't look too bad at the back. Again, I think that's, Gary Monk's teams are solid at the back and will defend quite well. So it's another clean sheet. But overall, it's disappointing because then on paper and that you're saying we should have beat QPR and we could have been sitting here. All theoretically, don't have a go at me for it, but you've got to think theoretically. We could have been sitting there with 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. You're probably in the playoffs. I think if I just look at the league table, 11 points puts you, in the playoff, anywhere between 8th and 5th. So what does that say? We could have been pushing for playoffs as we currently stand. We would have been higher than Villa with 11 points, just saying. But we're not. We're sitting there with 4th. I'm not too disappointed with the start to the season, but we've got to be so much better in certain areas going into the second half of the season. So I'm just going to run through the team quickly and sort of give my general rating for the team for the season so far. So we'll go off the lineup from Saturday. Lee Camp, 3 games, 4 games including the cup game. And I will mark him on the cup game because he was at fault for, I think, one of the goals. I think the free kick he could have done better with. Lee Camp's going to get a 5.5 from me. Now, 5.5 is me being generous again, but that's because he's come out with 2 clean sheets from 4 games. But in those 2 games where he's got the clean sheet, he hasn't really done much. And he's made a mistake in both of his games. So he's coming away with a 5.5. There's not much more you can say about Camp. Everybody's nervous when the ball goes near him. A lot of gasps on Saturday, and he fumbled a few things. I don't know what's wrong with him. Like, you watch him, the guy just doesn't look confident. I don't know why. But won't ramble too much about him. Colin. Now, I think Colin is a magnificent player, and we're lucky to have him. Hasn't been as bright as last season, I don't think. Still hasn't really done much wrong. I still think there's a lot more to come from him, though, in the second... Well, we're not even a quarter of the way through the season, but after the international break. Colin gets a 6.5 from me. I know he can do better, but hasn't really done much wrong. Steady is what I would say from him. Michael Morrison. Now, I'm going to give Morrison an 8, actually. One of the standout performers for me so far this season. I think and anybody that knows me since the guys come in under Rowett, so all this time, I have really not liked Michael Morrison. I've always thought he's been suspect at the back in terms of his passing and his pace. But this season, I think he's been outstanding. He's led, he's been a rock, he's been solid, he's been assured of himself. His distribution has gotten better. I think working alongside Harley Dean's helped him for his distribution. But I think he's been so commanding aerially, making good tackles, not been diving in, very rash. He's maturing as a defender. I think he's doing really well. So an 8 from me, proper captain at the minute. Harley Dean, 7.5, not been quite as good as Michael Morrison, but still really not doing too much wrong, very good, coming out from the back with the ball, he's very good at that, he does that well for us, doesn't lose the ball often, as the song suggests. I still think there's 1 or 2 things that he can do better. Everyone can improve, but 7.5 from me, very steady start to the season. Now Christian Pedersen. Again, he's gonna get 7.5 from me. I thought he wobbled the first game against Norwich, a little bit shaky, but he's grown into this league and he's really, really showing that he's been a really good buy. Great in the air, very solid, decent delivery. Not the greatest, but he's got a decent delivery on him. And I think his positioning, more than anything, his reading of the game, his tactical awareness is better than most players on the pitch. I think he reads the game so well. So I've been really impressed with him. So he's going to get a 7.5. I think it was 7.5 I gave it. So we're going with that. Now Hotter gets a 7 from me, a little bit lower. It would be lower, but I think he's picked up last few games. Start of the season, so we're talking Middlesbrough and Norwich. He was awful, probably our worst player. But since then, he's really, again, he started to build momentum, and some of the things he's been doing, he's magic on the ball at times. He's a bit mesmerising to watch. His final ball into the box, or his final decision around the edge of the box, needs to be a little bit better. But overall, he's growing, he's getting better. We know how good he is, but I expect a little bit more from Hotter. So a 7, I think, is a fair rating for him. Michael Kieftenbeld, 6.5. Now, some might say that's a little bit harsh, but we need him to be doing better. If he's going to stay in the team, and nobody offers us, he offers us a lot of tenacity, a lot of aggression in midfield. He does the nitty gritty work, but it's not enough for a midfielder to do the nitty gritty work and then be absolutely atrocious with his passing and his final ball and his shot. Like, since he scored that screamer in pre-season, every shot he's taken has again just been ballooned into the stand. It's no good him doing that. We can't be wasteful these days. If we're going to develop as a team, he needs to be better. I love Kieftenbeld. I love what he brings, but his passing, especially on Saturday against QPR, is appalling. He can't pass. He doesn't have the ability to find the killer pass. A lot of his passes are sideways. His dribbling with the ball is okay. He brings the ball out. He likes to make those little sort of mazy runs. But 2 or 3 times I saw him just play a pass and it went out of play or it went astray. Needs to improve. He's okay, but 6.5 I think so far is fair for him. He hasn't really done much. Now Gary Gardner's going to get an 8 from me as well. Now some would say, "Oh, you're sucking up to Gary Gardner," or whatever. But an 8. He's been again one of the standout players. I think he does a lot of the nitty gritty work that Kieftenbeld can do. He does a lot of running. He presses. He's physical in midfield. I think he brings more physicality, which surprised me. But his range of passing is really good. He's got a good eye for a pass. He can. On Saturday, he played a few nice little precise chip passes in behind the defence for Magoma or whatever, or picking the ball up deep and trying to play a ball out wide to the fullback to get him on the run. He does a lot of that really nicely. I've heard he's got a good shot on him, but we haven't really seen that so far. So that's something I'd like to see him. He's try and shoot a bit more. But I think Gary Gardner, considering where he's come from and how he hasn't had the pre-season to settle in. Yeah, solid so far. Magoma. Now Magoma's going to get 7. Thought he started the season exactly where he left off last season, on fire. Especially Norwich and Swansea at home, those 2 home games. But all the away games and QPR on Saturday, he's not done enough for me. He's not been in the game enough. A lot of times Saturday I found myself moaning about him again. It felt like I was moaning at the old Magoma a couple of years ago, where he wasn't bothered about tackling, he wasn't trying, he just didn't seem, he seemed off, he seemed distant on Saturday, he didn't seem in the game. So it's something I'd like to see him improve on, and considering the high standards he set last season, he can't drop from those, otherwise people notice that he's dropping, so he needs to get back up to those standards to be hitting the 8s and the 9s. So I would say a 7 so far this season. Jukovic. Now Jukovic is a tough one because his job he's asked to do is so difficult to rate. But I don't think he's been anywhere near what he did last season. Fantastic goal at Forest last week. But overall, I think we're looking at maybe a 6.5. Considering what he was doing last season and how well he was working the end of last season, he's not quite hit those standards. His link-up play has been okay, but I think he's been bullied a lot this season. Referees aren't picking up on that. It's hard to judge when it's a foul or if they're both just being physical, but I find he's being bullied himself. He needs to try and be a bit tougher. I know that's easy for me to say, but he needs to be stronger on the ball. His flick-ons sometimes go nowhere, or sometimes when he takes the ball down and he tries to lay it off, his passing just is a bit wayward or a bit negative. It goes back to the centre backs or something like that. It's a hard job to mark, but 6.5 for Jukovic. We know he can do better. His finishing hasn't quite been on it as well with his feet. Needs to get better at that again if we're going to score goals. He's one of the key players. He's a forward. He needs to score, so he needs to work on his finishing. And Shea, we're talking about Shea from Saturday. Again, needs to do more for me. Needs to do more. It's going to be written about in one of the articles. This is going out Thursday, so Saturday. So it'll have been out already. So if you've read the article already, you'll know that we're going to talk about sort of the goal scoring, and it's been an issue for years now, right? We've been a team that hasn't scored many goals for the last how many years? 7, 3, since Rowett. And I partially blame Rowett's systems for that we've got that sort of mindset. We don't score a lot. Shea Adams has been in every single one of those teams, and we've been a low-scoring team. And it's all well and good people saying, "Well, Shea." I had a debate with someone the other day, which is fair enough. His argument was very valid, but it's all well and good people saying we don't play to Shea's strengths, we don't do this, we don't do that. How many systems has Shea Adams been in now? How many different teams? Rowett's team, Zola's team, Redknapp's team, Cottrell's team, and Monk's team. All of those are different managers with different styles, and Shea Adams does not shine or stand out in any of those teams. He doesn't. Sam Gallagher managed to do it under Cottrell. Sam Gallagher managed to do it under Monk. We have different forwards that manage to do it every year, but Shea, I think he flatters to deceive sometimes. It might seem harsh. He might do I said he was lazy the other day. Some days you'll see him putting a lot of leg work, a lot of running, and it's pointless. But he's doing the hard work. But he's also extremely wasteful as well. He dwells on the ball. He doesn't do enough as a finisher. He's not in the right positions. Someone's saying, well, he's never in the box. Well, I find that we get the ball wide a lot of the time. We play wide. We play with Magoma. We play with Hotter. And Adams is dwelling on the edge of the box, and that's his fault for not being in there. So I think the forwards, I'm not just pointing the finger at Adams, Jukovic and Bogle as well, need to be more proactive. They need to be more spatially aware. I don't think we have the forwards that do that. Natural born goal scorers are 10 a penny at the minute. They come at £10 million. None of our strikers are £10 million strikers. That's the problem we have. And that needs to improve. So don't think this is a personal attack on Shea. I love Shea. If anything, I'm his biggest fan. People that, again, would know me before I started making the videos would know that I'm Shea's biggest fan. And I think the kid is so talented, but he doesn't do enough for me. If he's going to hit the top level if he's going to hit Premier League, or if he's going to be a top Championship striker, he needs to do more for me. Maybe it is the system, but I find if he's working with two strikers, it's not, if he's that striker that gets the flick-ons, he doesn't do enough for me. I always find that the system gets the flick-ons, and we play the ball wide, and the wide players will either look to shoot or look to get it in the box, and he's never in the box. I found that Bogle was in the box a bit more, so that says a bit about Shea, but we'll get on to that anyway. And then maybe some of the players that have played in and out. Roberts hasn't really played much. I thought he did okay at Reading. We'll give him... How can you rate a player that's rarely played? So I'll give him a 6. Mahoney's come on a few times, looked a bit dangerous, but again, hasn't played much. But, a 6 is fair. Craig Gardner, I thought, started the season extremely well. And obviously his red cards mean that he's been out of the team because Gary Gardner's played so well. But I thought Craig Gardner started the season so well, so I'd give him a 7. Bogle, he's working hard, but he's the same as Shea. He needs to be in those positions. He's dwelling on the ball a little bit too long. He's not sharp enough. They need to be a bit more ruthless. He gets a 6.5 as well, purely because he's not being ruthless enough in front of goal. They dwell on the ball too long. They think about it too long. Viv Salomon, I thought, for his first kind of it's not really his first season in that, but he's in and out of the team. He's still a young lad. I thought he's doing really well. I think he's going to get a 7 from me. His goal on the opening day was really good, and I think he's been dangerous when he's been on, so he gets a 7. Truman, first 2 games, I thought he did okay. I mean, he conceded 3, but he couldn't have done much. So a 6.5, a 6.5. Could have done a bit better with maybe the goal at Middlesbrough, but apart from that, he did okay. And Wes Harding, again, hasn't really played much. Thought he did okay Saturday when he came on, so a 6 I think is fair. So if we're talking about, you know, three good points from the season so far, it's that we're still unbeaten at home. We have to take those positives. We're so good at home under Gary Monk. I think, you know, the last defeat at home was Middlesbrough back in March. So you have to look at how this is building. St Andrews is becoming a place that teams can't come and play anymore. They're not. It's not an easy place to come. It's not a place that teams are going to think there's 3 points. We're hard to beat. We don't lose at home. We just need to be more ruthless in front of goal, and those wins will start coming. Another positive is that we haven't showed ourselves up in any game. We've not embarrassed ourselves. We've been competitive in every single game, and considering all the hard games we've had, that is such a positive for me. Last season we were rolled over so many times against even the poorest of teams, coming at our place all away from home, and we weren't competitive. We weren't in the game. You didn't say, yeah, we could have got something from that game. Every game this season I've said we could have got something from that game. So again, another positive. And the third positive is that we really haven't lost any players. You know, coming out the back end of the transfer market now, we haven't lost any players from a squad, and the squad looks nice and united. They look on the same wavelength. Yes, Saturday was a bit of an off day, but every game there seems to be a clear game plan. It works well, and if we, like I say, if we can just hit a bit of form and players can get the shooting boots on, I don't see why, you know, we won't start winning way more games. So there's sort of 3 positives. We're looking at 3 negative points now. Again, the goal scoring is 1. It's an obvious problem. I'm sure Gary Monk will address that come these 2 weeks. We've got plenty of time to practice. A second negative, obviously, is that we still don't have the win. Yes, whatever way you look at it, it is a negative because we haven't won. It's 6 games without a win. But obviously, I've been looking on the positive side. It's 3 unbeaten at home, and we've played quite well in every game. So, but it's still we haven't won. We haven't won. It's a problem now. It's a monkey on our back. West Brom's going to be a tough game. Nobody expects to win that. I kind of do. I'm trying to be positive, but I kind of do. And then the third kind of negative thing to improve on is that I think the third negative is the squad depth. And this comes down to the transfer market again. And the board have really let us down in the transfer market. Because whatever's gone on behind the scenes, I don't know exactly what's happened. But obviously with the problem in place, QPR have had the same transfer embargo, or a transfer embargo put on them. But they've still gone and managed to get Jeff Cameron, Tom Ahmed and Naki Wells as their 3 loan players. Our 3 loan players, or our 3 players that we brought in, were Conor Mahoney, no disrespect to Conor Mahoney, Omar Bogle, Lee Camp, and Gary Gardner being the best of the bunch. Now, if you look at all 3 of theirs, they're players that were in the Premier League. Hamed signed a new deal last year. Wells was tipped for Premier League, and Jeff Cameron was playing in the Premier League last year. Why have they gone and been able to get those as part of their squad depth? I know they'll probably be starters now, but even then they have like Matt Smith and all that. Why are they able to go and get those, and why were we not able to get those? As our squad depth is now relying on youth or, again, young loan players that aren't really proven. That's my worry, is squad depth. If we lose Adams, if we lose Jukovic, we've got 2 strikers again. It's not good enough. And my hope for the next sort of 6 games, I'm looking at it as 6 games at a time, we have to take it in chunks, is that we need to be looking at picking up at least 2 wins from 6, minimum. Just looking ahead to the fixtures, we've got West Brom, Sheffield United away, Leeds away, Ipswich at home, Brentford away, and Rotherham at home. Now, Rotherham and Ipswich are the 2 games you look at and you think, yes, we need to win those games. It's not a case of if or but, we need to win those games. There's no question about it. you can't go through a championship season hoping for mid-table if we don't win those games. It's simple as, if we want to be out of that relegation scrap, we need to win those games. And I would still be looking at trying to pick up points against West Brom at home and Sheffield United away, minimum. Whether that's 3 points, a point. If someone said to me now, you can win both of those games against Rotherham and Ipswich, a point against Sheffield United, and a point/win against West Brom, I'll bite your hand off now. It means we lose at Brentford and Leeds. I'll take that, because that would be 8 points minimum. And I don't think that would leave us in too much danger. And I hope that we find our scoring boots in the next 6 games. We need to be scoring more. Otherwise, we're going to be in that dogfight again, end of the season. I know it's easy for us to say. I know it's easy for me to sit behind this camera and say we need to score more goals. But we do. If we don't set ourselves expectations, the club's just going to be lingering. This is nothing to do with me criticising Gary Monk or the backroom staff. I think we're so lucky to have this backroom staff and Gary Monk as manager. Things just haven't quite clicked yet, and that's fine, because I have full faith that it's going to come good. But guys, I know I've ranted for almost half an hour now. If you have stayed till the end in this video, please let me know your thoughts on the first 6 games of the season. I know I get a lot of good comments, and I'm thanking you guys for subscribing if you have already. When we hit 1,000 subs, so I think we're at almost 250 at the minute. When we hit 1,000 subs, I'll be doing a giveaway to one lucky subscriber. Just to say thank you, because guys, this isn't about me. This is about building a community, and the channel is the comment section is the key. You'll like the video. I asked for a like, yada. The comment section is key. Go and start a debate in there. Talk to each other in there. Get your opinions out. The club needs to be more united in its decisions and its ideas. We've had so much unrest the last few years that, guys, let's all get on the same wavelength, and it's healthy. Let's have debate. Let's talk about things. So please go and be more invested in the comment section. Go and find us on social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Go and find us, guys. And if you find us on Facebook, go and invite people to that Facebook page. Again, it's all a group that we can get talking, and we can. I try and reply to absolutely everyone on everything, because I love the debate. I love the chat, and your guys, the support's been phenomenal so far. So let's try and keep it up. If we can hit 30 likes on this video, I'll be amazed, and appreciate it a lot, guys. And give me your feedback on the videos. Anything you'd like to see, any series or any chats, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever, that you want me to do, guys. This is all about you, so let me know, and we can make those. If this goes out the day it's supposed to, I hope you enjoyed the first podcast of the week. It took me a while to get my guests sorted because they're a nightmare with scheduling. And guys, I hope you stick with me, and I will see you after the international break for West Brom at home. Keep right on, guys. Keep right on.